rip it off. But check it out, I'm gonna show you how to do internals. I'm gonna show you how to top internals and the steps that I go through when I top internals. Anyways, you need a 4-inch, an internal tool, and a hook. And what you're gonna need the most is top coat. You'll never catch me without purpose. Right, I got another bucket over here with some water in it. That's gonna keep this wet. You will see why I need that to stay wet. So this is my internal right here. Make sure it's scraped. There's nothing going on in it. This one's already scraped. When you get the top coat, when it comes from the factory, it's nice and it's ready to go. It's pre-mixed, but it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit hard to push and to work with. I'm not that strong, okay? So I like to put a little bit of water in it, tiny amount of water, just to make it less hard. You know what I mean? And I'm left with this kind of consistency right there, which I like. But you want it to slowly fall off. Anyways, grab the gear like this, right? Grab the gear. You want a 4-inch that's a little bit stiff, Alright, that's gonna help you when you're doing this right now. You're also gonna need a ladder. That's how you wanna start. Cause you don't wanna start your full width. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're gonna go wider than where you wanna go, which becomes a problem and it gets messy and it's weird, okay? We don't like weird stuff. We like keeping it simple and professional. Grab a little bit, put on one side, and what you do is you just slide down. Get a little bit more on one side. See, I know it looks messy right there, but that's fine. Because I'm at the bottom, man, it's very hard to go all the way down. So what I do is, I get it from this side of my 4-inch and I come up. Right? You ideally want to start from the top because you don't want gear falling down to the place where you've already finished. Alright, so anyways, get the gear. I'm going to change the side. I was using this side before. And I'm going to use this side, right? Check it out like that. Same thing, I just want to put it on. I know it looks messy, but it's fine. Right? I'm going to come up, grab my ladder. I'm going to do the top. Same thing, just slap it on like that. And like that, alright? This gap right here, we'll put corners, we'll put crown molding all around here. So it's no squares here. That's why you don't see tape up there. You know what I'm saying? If you can zoom in just a little bit so they can see what I mean by roughly put it on. Yeah. That's pretty much where you need it. So once you get to that stage, this is what you do. And stay close too, by the way. Stay right there. What you want to do is you want to get a little bit of gear like this. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Right? Over stuff from the top, by the way. And you want to come down about there. Okay? Clean that off. And get just a little bit more. A tiny bit more. And now, okay, I always say this. Put pressure on one side. This is where you need a stiffer 4-inch. So grab that, put pressure on one side, and what it's gonna do for you is gonna feather your internal as well as swiping it. See what I'm saying? But that's also gonna give you a perfect, nice straight line. Like it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It makes your work a lot neater, and it just helps with the final product. But come over, look real quick. So if you look at this side here, it's nice and feathered. Because I put pressure on one side, but then if you look on this side, it looks messy and unclean and uneven, right? It's fine, like I said, it's fine. So I'm gonna do the same thing again. You wanna know why I put a little bit of gear before I slide? I'll show you why. So if I come up here, and I don't put any gear on before I slide, if I try to put pressure on one side now, it takes too long for that gear to catch up to the width of my 4-inch. You know what I mean? So when I put a little bit of gear to start off, like that, and I grab a little bit more gear, it takes me straight away to the width of my 4-inch. You know what I mean? So that's why I use a little bit of gear before I start. There you go. Now this is what you're left with. This part is very important, okay? The part where you wait, okay? Give it about a few minutes for it to sit. You can easily go over this right now, but it's gonna create an edge where it brings out the gear that's in the middle to the side, and it'll make it hard to sand, right? So what you do is you give it about 2 minutes for it to just soak in the moisture, and it makes it easier for you to run over it with your internal tool. But while we wait, you can do more internals. You can do, I don't know, I usually do a room of 4 or 5, 6 internals. I do them like that, and then I come back and I go through it more with my internal tool. I could be doing it, but I want to waste time. while I talk shit with you. Okay. So now, and some of the guys on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, doesn't matter. They always say something like, you know, why use an internal tool? Like, why use that? You know, you're gonna dig it out, or you're gonna, you know, take too much off, and it's gonna be hard to sand. Now, I've been doing this for 6 years, man, and all that 6 years, I've always used this guy right here. I have yet to find a person that uses one side, does one side of the internal, let it dry, come back to the other side. All right, I've yet to find anybody that does that. Most of the guys will use this, or they will use a machine, a pump, and a glazer, which I do have. I do have a pump and a glazer with me, for those that are wondering. But when I do it by hand, I'm more in control of how much gear I'm leaving on, as well as how neat and clean and easy it is for me to sand. Like, I'm more in control of all that when I do it by hand. Okay, because nothing beats handmade, all right? So the reason why you don't see me using that glazer and tool right now, it's a small job. It's a really small house, right? 2 bedroom, pretty easy. So I can quickly go through this, do it by hand, and it's gonna save me a lot of time when it comes to sanding. Anyway, that's enough talking shit. Let's get back into work, all right? Come have a look at the internal now. It's a little bit dryish. This is why you need the water. So now I'm gonna go over it using my tool, all right? The secret to using this tool, by the way, so I'm holding it like this, right? I got my finger wrapped around the bottom there. I wanna put the middle finger right in the middle of the tool. I wanna get my index finger on this point over here. I wanna get my small little finger on this other point, but I wanna get my ring finger just somewhere there. You wanna push the tool, you wanna kinda do that, okay? And you don't wanna push it too hard, you don't need to push it, but you don't want the tool to be flexing while you go over the internal. That's why you lock it in at that, so you can just slide and it doesn't flex. You get what I mean? So that's how this works. But you're gonna need a little bit of gear. Like I said, get your fingers in there. And what you wanna do is you wanna run up, right? I like to put it on first. Just to play with it for a little bit. Get a little bit of gear there. Alright. So if you have a look right now, it looks kind of messy, it looks kind of funny, but it's okay. But I haven't even went over it properly. So now I'm gonna go over it for real to get rid of all these funny bits and all this kind of stuff, right? Same thing, I'm gonna get a little bit of gear and I wanna put pressure on the dumper, right? You wanna push into the internal, okay? And sometimes you might get a little bit of a little edge around there, right? And how to get rid of that edge is you wanna do the same thing. Instead of being flat, you wanna have it up a little bit where the pointy part is not touching the internal. So you wanna have it up a little bit. So instead of being like flat like that, which is what you're supposed to do, I'm gonna bring it up. And you can see that gap of there is not touching the corner, but it's gonna feather this line over here. So I'm bringing it up. And that line is going back into the internal. Now when I go over it, now the only reason why you always start from the top is you don't wanna, because I've done the bottom, I don't wanna go over it and drop some gear on parts that I've already done. That's mainly the reason why you always start from the top. The same thing, I wanna get a little bit of gear, start it in my internal, go over it. I like to give a little bit of laughing where I'm just going over it, you know, just touching it up. And now I'm gonna go over it for real, where I push. And I push. Like, seriously, like, if you have a look at that internal, man, like, if you really have a look at it, give it a good look. Come on, tell me, look at the featheredness. Yeah, if you ever look, like, it's feathered from nothing to like gradually to something, and there's no edge, there's nothing on it. You can pretty much sand this internal and you're still covered. Like, if I come to sand this right now, I don't need to do anything besides just get rid of this edge here. Like this, seriously, man, this is why I do it by hand. You can't tell me that there's a better way than doing it by hand. I'm still waiting for a good glazer. If you're a glazer making company, if you're a pump maker, tool maker, let me know, man, because I'm still waiting for the right tool to get me going so that I can stop doing it by hand. Because at this point, I haven't found a better way of doing internals. I mean, it's a little bit slower than using a glazer, but this is the most cleanest internal you're gonna do. Also, if you can't afford, you know, $3,000 worth of tools, because they're expensive, this is the most cheapest way it's gonna take you an extra probably 30 minutes, but it's gonna save you 30 minutes to sand, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? So that's how I do my internal, man, right? There's no edges on it, it's already nice and straight, it's beautiful internal, like, yeah, that's a sexy internal, it's nice, it's gorgeous, it's perfect, and it's all done by hand. But there you have it, G-Man, thanks for having me. Let me know in the comment what you think, and make sure you like, follow, and share, so I can make more videos like that. Adios, my G, and peace out.